Welcome to Montessori Centre Wales. What we're going to do today is just to give you some advice and tips on how to teach children to read. Herbert Cole says in his book that there's no reading problem. There are problem teachers and problem schools, and I tend to agree with him. What we're going to do is we're going to look at Frith's stages of reading, 1985, and in this Frith sets out the various stages of reading. The first one is the Logographic Stage, where children recognise words based on very crude visual analysis. So they might read any long word, any word with lots of letters in, as elephant, because that's their favourite bedtime story. That's the first sort of naive, innocent stage of reading. The next stage is the Alphabetic Stage, where children start to learn the sounds and names of letters and start to blend them together and maybe learn some keywords as well, some sight words. So that's the Alphabetic Stage. But the next stage is the Orthographic Stage, and that's reading proper, where children really have become good at blending and word building, recognising sight words, and they're starting to learn the rules like the magic E, which tends to result in an explosion of reading. So you have to question, when it's so basic, so simple, why are so many children not able to read when they leave primary school? What the Montessori method does is it introduces children to reading using multisensory materials and using a lot of visual stimuli, and we take them stage by stage through this process. So hopefully what these videos are going to do is enable you to do the same thing using Montessori materials at home and in school, and maybe we'll get to the point where we don't have any children unable to read, unable to spell and write properly. So I'm going to begin now by showing you the first video. Welcome to Montessori Centre Wales. What we're going to do now is show you how we prepare a child for writing. We use the insets for design, and as you can see, here are the insets. Oval, there is a circle and a square, some coloured pencils and paper, which is the same size as the insets. And what we do is we demonstrate to the child how we use the insets. So we would take an inset and place it on the paper. Take a pencil, and then we would draw our mark using the inset. Lift it off and show the child, and then invite them to have a turn. What this does, it prepares the child for writing, because as you can see, this shape here, the circle, is preparation for writing the letters A, O, the ball of the B, the Q, the P, the C, and so on. So this is really good preparation for writing. There's many different exercises we can use using the insets. That's the first one, just a straightforward line. We'll do another one. So we put the inset on again and we make our mark, and then we show the child that they can draw these parallel lines from edge to edge. And this again is helping the child to have the correct pencil grip and to control their movements, and in order to improve their writing or prepare for writing. We can do another exercise where the child takes the inset again, use a different colour, marks this, and then can actually shade in. And this again is preparation for writing. It's also preparation for art, because you can see we can use different strengths of shading here, and so on. Then we can do another exercise. This time we can use the inside of the inset first, like this, and then we can take the outer inset like that. And a little more difficult to control this. Draw a line there, and now the child sees 2 lines. Bit more difficult to control that, okay? Then we can take something like this inset, and we can actually take the inner bit, and what we can do is we draw around it again, and slowly we can just turn it round. And we start to get different patterns. And if we turn it a different way, we start to get these intricate shapes. And I have one that somebody has done. That's another exercise where you use a variety of the shapes, and you can shade the shapes in as well. So the purpose of this is preparing the hand for writing. The child gains control of the pencil through doing something he enjoys. It's good for older children who write badly or dislike writing, because they acquire good control of the pencil while enjoying the exercise. And it leads indirectly to the study of geometrical design and colour combinations. There are 10 geometrical cutout shapes or insets, and you have to have, as I said, these pieces of paper that are cut to the same size as the geometrical shape insets. You can make these out of cardboard or wood. They're pretty easy to make, pretty cheap to make, so you can do that. You don't need to necessarily buy these pieces of equipment, which can be quite expensive. So what we have for the insets of design usually is this sloping board with the 10 insets on there, a basket with coloured pencils and paper cut to the same size. The student uses the inset and draws around it and reveals the shape. Lots of different exercises for that. Here we have the single shape. Here we have the shape coloured in using the parallel strokes. Here we have the repetitive border using the edge of the inset, and here we have the double outline, 2 pencil marks, one using the inner part, one using the outer part of the inset. And then we get a little bit more intricate, and we use the insets here. You can see mirror images using the insets, and we shade those or use parallel lines to colour those in. And again we have the same inset, but we're turning it and using it in this way. And then we have just the single outlines here of the insets using lots of different types of insets, and you can see here 4 shapes using the different insets and lovely shading. And when these are on plain paper and put onto a window in the classroom, they come across as like a stained glass window. So the more of these the children produce, the more beautiful the window can appear. When we're teaching the child to read, we're obviously teaching them at the same time to write some of these letters and symbols. And here we can see we've just got a variety of different ways of teaching writing. There's freestyling, basically, where we can just do all sorts of things and children can practice. They can do just simple writing, they can do the shapes as we did with the insets, and so on. That's what we can do. It's a wipe off, wipe on board. Then we have some bigger lined paper, and you can see here the bottom and top and so on of where they have to write. So here we can do handwriting, begin the handwriting, the lead in, the lead out, and so on. And then we can reduce that. We've also got a guide here for the children, and we can reduce that even smaller. A smaller pen obviously would be better.
We're showing them how to form these. We can be saying these at the same time. And then we move on to joining them up. And so on. So this is what we're doing quite early on as well. We're teaching print writing. We're also teaching cursive writing using a variety of materials. But we start with these big strokes, using the hand brushes, using paint brushes on walls and sweeping them on the floor, big pieces of chalk, crayon, the bigger the better, and then we refine it down to this size. So this is the 3-period lesson with the sandpaper letters. We present the first letter and we show the child, this is A. Can you say A? And the child follows your fingers and does it themselves. A. We remove that and we present the next letter. This is N. Can you say N? The child traces over N. Then we introduce both letters in front of the child and ask the child, can you show me A? Can you show me N? You can mix them up if you like. Now can you show me A? Can you show me N? And now we want to find out if the child can recall and remember in isolation. And we ask, what is this? And the child may say A. What is this? The child may say N. If they have, we place them back in front of them and say, today you have learnt the letter sounds A and N. Tomorrow we can learn some more. Would you like to play some games using these letters? Go. So these are the sandpaper letters. As I said, you can buy them. They're ready-made from some of the Montessori outlets. Or you can make them. You just get some card, get some sandpaper, draw around them and cut them out and then paste them on. So that's what we use. There's also a diagram, and this basically shows you the letter start points, the formation. So here we see the dot and the arrows, A, and so on. Here we can see there's a couple of movements, the kick and cut, down, down and down. And there's an example of it in a word there. So this is quite useful for your school or your nursery. And then we also have a record sheet to keep a record of the children's progress. And here you can see the child's name, Max, introduced the letter A, the date introduced and the date mastered, and so on. And we can introduce these, obviously, they don't have to be following the order of the alphabet. The best way to introduce them is so that they combine words. So k, a, t would be a good one. B, a, d, m, a, n, and so on. Just different combinations so children get to actually build some words at the same time. Cool. Okay, this is the large movable alphabet, and the purpose is to teach the child word building skills, to teach him how to analyse words as a preparation for reading, writing and spelling, and to alert him to the sequence of sounds in words. The material is a large box with separate compartments for each letter of the alphabet, containing letters cut out of stiff card. You can make these. The vowels are blue, as you can see, and the consonants are red. We usually do this on a floor, but I'm doing it on the table now. What we do is we ask the child to pair the letters here of the large movable alphabet with the sandpaper letters. So we would present this letter and ask the child to pair that with one of the letters from the movable alphabet. And the child would simply do this, or this, or this. And then we would take it away, put it back in, and present him with another letter. And the child again would find the letter and pair that. This is to accustom the child to the position of the letters in different compartments by asking him to find various ones for you. So we can also say, could you find me A? And the child would know where to look. Could you find me E? And so on. And we would do that and use the different compartments of the large movable alphabet. When the child can do the introductory exercises without difficulty, what we do is we choose any simple three-letter phonetic word, for example dog, and we say, now we're going to build the word dog. And you can ask the child, what sounds can you hear when I say dog? Enunciate the word clearly, and the child should say D. You say, yes, find D. The child finds D. Places the letter there. Then you ask, what other sound can you hear when I say dog? The child will nearly always say G, which he will hear if he listens carefully. You should then enunciate the word dog slowly and clearly until the child hears the O. Dog, dog. The child may find the letter O and place it there. Again, we encourage the child to listen to the sounds of the word dog, 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 and find the letter. And so the child has constructed the word dog. Not only that, but he can see the consonants here are in red and the vowel O is in blue. We continue to build words with the child in this way until he has understood and can work alone. This is an exercise in word analysis and recomposition. The child is never asked to read the words he has built, but you read back the words to him. Dog. For this one, we're going to use some objects. So what happens is we place some objects on the table or the mat in front of the child, going down, and we name them pig, dog, fox. And again, we play this game where we say the word pig and we ask the child, what sounds can you hear when I say pig? Pig. And again, the child will inevitably say p, and so on, and they will build the word. And we continue with this until the child has constructed each of the words pig, dog, and fox. So following on from what we did there, we again present the objects and we ask the child, can you name these? If they don't know, we give them the name. This is a man, this is a dog, this is a cat, and then we present them with the pink cards where they now have to read and match the cards with the objects. Cat, man, and dog. Okay, what we have here is another part of the pink series, and this is a sheet with pictures, as you can see, and we have the matching pink cards. And again, we name the pictures, same as we saw with the style really, and this was the precursor to style, I guess. And we give the children the cards again, and they match them. Pen, jet. So we can read the words first and match them, or we can say the names of the pictures and then find the word. Depends. There's two ways of doing this really. Net, hen, peg, 10, leg, elf. And there we go. So we take those off. And the beauty of Montessori is that everything has a place, and when we turn this over we can see there's the envelope, vowel sound E, and all the names go back in there, and it goes back on the shelf ready for the next child. Following on from the pink cards and objects, These cards are placed at random. There's a set of cards placed in the classroom. The child knows it's the pink series, and they can take these cards and read through the words. And we have by now instructed the children, and they have learned how to do this for themselves. So this is just reading practice, where the child will read the words beg, keg, leg, peg, meg, and then maybe just put them back. We move on then to the sight words, the problem with sight words, and what we have here, as you can see, is the first 12%. These words make up the first 12% of all sight words, keywords. A and he, I, in, is, it, of, that, the, to, and was. So we would teach those, and we would teach those by, again, putting them on flashcards, letting the children have as much experience at using these as possible, and playing games with them, tracing them, drawing them, cutting them. We can play a game, for instance, of snap. So the child would try and read these, and we'd have those other words on there as well. Was, and they have to say them out loud. Had, snap. Everything we have done with the pink series moves on to the blue series. So we do exactly the same thing, but now we're using the blue series, which goes from CVC, consonant, vowel, consonant, to CVCC or CCVC, consonant, consonant, vowel, consonant, or consonant, vowel, consonant, consonant, like sand or crab, and so on. Drum, plug, the pull sound. So we've moved on to these longer phonic words. It's called the blue series. And here, again, you can see the cards for reading those. Trap, flap, slap, snap, and clap, and so on. And then we have, as we did with the pink series, we have the sentences. A frog sat on a log. Full stop, capital letter. We haven't really begun reading books. We may have made some pink series books, 3-letter words, and used those. And I'll show you some of those books next. As with the Montessori learning materials, we have developed this set of children's reading scheme. They were voted the best reading scheme by the London Parent Guide, and they follow the same process as the pink series, the blue series, and the green series, which goes on to phonograms. So with the pink, for instance, you can see it's level 1. We have simple sentences, CVC, Kim the kid, using capital letters and full stops. Kim the kid is in the pen. Nice pictures that illustrate it. They can extend on these pictures. They can use their language to extend descriptions of what's going on there. That adds to it, but they're also seeing the grammar structure there as well. And we also ask the children some questions, and they're usually in here. And in the front of the book, you can see when going through this book, you may like to emphasize the following points. A capital letter begins a sentence and is used for proper nouns. A full stop ends a sentence. And games to play are counting the capital letters, find the full stops, find the proper nouns, name the colours, and so on. Loads of things that you can do as you're going through these books. Then the blue series moves on, and we've got sight words coming in. Here is Rex the dog. He sits in the yard. And then we have CVCC and CCVC. And we also have some instructions here. There are 5 short vowels, say their sounds. And then when we add an E at the end of the word, the vowel before it says its name. This is called the magic E rule. So again, we have some instructions in there for children and parents to learn to read together. And finally, it moves on to a little bit more advanced, and where children are reading now, and we're starting to bring in the grammar, a noun, an adjective, the verb, and so on. And the stories get a bit more progressive. Here is Sam the ram in his pen. Sam must stay in his pen until Liz the vet comes to see him. So it's really life on a farm, and they're very appealing illustrations. And these are published, and they're available on facebook.com/Early Readers Bookstore. Now we move on to teaching the definite and indefinite article, the and a. And this is just a game we can play with children. So we can ask the child, can you give me a pencil? That's indefinite because there are more than one pencil. So a pencil would be that. The definite article, because there's only one pen, we would say, could you give me the pen? So we have indefinite because there are more than one pencil, and definite because there's only one pen. A pencil, the pen. And again, we can use the 3-period lesson for teaching these. So we could teach it. This is A. This says the. Can you show me A? Can you show me the? And now the recall. What is this? A. What is this? The. So today you have learned A and the. Shall we use those in a game, in some sentences, and we play the games? Okay, so this is the first formation of the singular and the plural. So what we have here, we put the headings up there, singular, and we explain to the child, singular is one item. So we have one twig. More than one twig are called, twigs. And that plural is an S on the end of the word. So we find the first singular, twig, and then we find the plural, twigs. Then we do the next one, band, the singular, band, the plural of band with the S on the end is bands. And the last one, pin, and the plural of pin with an S on the end is pins. We've been working with the children on pictures, objects, sounds and so on, so they're familiar with these and the names. And now we move on to some sentence construction and grammar. And we use the farm here to do this, okay? So again, we ask the children to name the objects. Man, ram, cat. This is called Peg, she has a name, lady. Dog. And so we ask the children, we say to them that everything has a name. And we give these objects names like man, ram, peg, cat and dog. And that part of speech, that part of grammar is called the noun. And we present them with the cards and we ask them to match the nouns to the objects. Dog, ram, man, and so on. So we'll just use those three for a moment. Not have too many to overload them. And when they've done that and we've played some games, we can ask them to label things in the classroom. Maybe a door or table or chair using the noun cards. There's lots of games we can play using that. I'm going to whiz through this quite quickly to get to the point where we're making these sentences. So we've done the article, definite and indefinite as well. So the next stage is to use those, okay? And we can use the definite article there, the man, the ram. If we had some more dogs, we could put a dog, but it is a dog anyway as well, okay? So we can use that. So we've used the definite, indefinite article, we've used the capital letter at the beginning of the sentence, and we've taught them the part of speech which is the noun, and they're color-coded as well. The nouns are in black. The next thing we can do is to describe these. So we can ask the children, can you describe these objects? And the child might say, it's a black and white dog. It's a big man. It's a fat ram. And they may use these adjectives having never even read the words or used the words. But now we're beginning to construct these sentences. So, we have the heading card we had before would have been article, and now we're using the adjective. And again, we give the children the cards and we ask them to read them and match them to the objects. So again, the fat ram, the sad man, and I don't have one at the moment. I think we could. It doesn't matter if they did that. It's something they could correct their mistake. But a red dog. It's not necessarily correct, but we have to enable the children also to correct their errors. So we'd ask them to read these sentences, and then they can insert more adjectives and make these sentences larger. The sad pink man, or the fat pink pig, and so on. So they can use lots and lots of different adjectives in these sentences. Next, we come to the use of the verb. I mean, we could play games again with the adjectives. We could get the children to describe lots of things within their environment and label them again. So then we introduce them to the verb, where we can ask children to act out instruction cards. So everything, when we explain the noun, everything had a name. When we explain the adjective, it's used to describe the object or the thing. And now we are at the verb, where the verb describes what someone or something is doing, like hop, jump, laugh. And we can play games. I would like you to hop. So the children do that. Or, what am I doing now? And the children would say, you're clapping, and so on. So that's how we describe the verb. And we give them the verb cards. The sad man runs, or the sad man stands. The fat ram sits. A red dog runs, and so on. So there we have the grammar in place in a sentence construction, using the objects, using the grammar cards. And what we're going to do next is show you, we'll do the adverb now, and then I'll show you some other grammar games that we've developed. So the sad man stands, and the adverb extends the verb. It adds meaning to the verb angrily. The fat ram sits nicely. A red dog runs fast or quickly. Okay, so those are some of the exercises we do with the farm, the objects, and the grammar cards. This is another one of our books, Teach Your Child to Read, and you can see it comes complete with a set of cards for grammar, the article, the verb, the noun, the heading, and the adjectives. And you cut these out to size, and you can use them with your farm objects. Also has the letters of the alphabet. Again, you can cut these out, vowels in blue, consonants in pink. And then when we open up the book, we see here, again, after the introduction, there's a phonics sound sheet. There's also a downloadable audio file for this. You can see the starting points for the letters here, which helps you to understand which direction the letters are formed. And then we have the 3-period lesson, again illustrated all the way through, with plenty of great clear details and instructions. Second period, third period of the lesson. And then we have the constructing words. We've seen all these in the video. The object box, the large movable alphabet, the matching with the cards. We have a word list, matching the cards there again. And then we have teaching the noun, teaching the adjective, the noun adjective game, the article game, teaching the article, the verb game, teaching the verb, silent reading, making the materials, what you need, and supplies those materials, and then again diagrams of how to do that. So that is Teach Your Child to Read, and again available on facebook.com/Early Readers Bookstore. Okay, here we've got some grammar exercises. So what we have is a picture, and we read the sentence, ride a bicycle. We've already done the work on the parts of grammar: the adjective, the adverb, the article, the noun, the verb, interjection, conjunction, pronoun and preposition. And what we have now is matching symbols for those parts of grammar. So when the child reads the sentence, what they have to do is match the symbol to the sentence. So ride a bicycle. So we have the verb, the article and the noun. And then on the back, the child turns it over and can self-correct. We'll do another one. This is a silly monkey. So again, we use the symbols and the adjective, the article a. Silly is the adjective to describe the monkey, and monkey is the noun. So if we've done it correct, we turn it over. There we are. Many years have passed since Montessori died, and there are a lot more materials on the market now. So I think if Montessori were around today, she would be using some of these materials because they are based essentially on her original ideas. So what we have here is a book called Style. It's a whole series of books for helping children to learn to read. And there are 14 pattern games in this one for early reading. Words, rhyming, sentences. This is book 1. We have a record system as well that we can keep. And the tray really is made up of these coloured tiles. And then on this side we have numbers. And you can see the lines underneath to stop any confusions. So all we're asking the child here to do is match things that begin with the same sound by looking at the pictures. So we would take number 1 and say, can you match the first one that begins with the same sound? So what is this? Or we would tell them, rabbit. Can you find a picture here that starts with the same sound? Rabbit. R. Rainbow. So the child puts number 1 in there. The next one is sheep. Shell. The next one, number 3, pig. P. Pen. Duck. D. Door. Number 5, fox. Fence. F. Number 6, goat. G. Guitar. Number 7, mouse. M. Mug. And last, number 8, spider. S. Spider. Spoon. So then what we do is we close up the tray, we turn it over, and then we open it up. And if the child has done it correctly, we should say that way, we see the pattern matches. And that's it. And we're ready to do the next one. So we open up the tray and we put the numbers back into the glass. And then we move on to the next one. We can record that if the child has done it right, match the things again that begin with the same sound. And we can keep going through this. Match the things that begin with the same sound. Match the pictures that rhyme here. Fox rhymes with box. Mouse rhymes with house, and so on. And these books gradually become more difficult. They gradually become more difficult, and they take the children through all of the prerequisite exercises for learning to read, and certainly for reading to spell as well. Match the rhyming words again, find the picture, and so on. So a really good series starter style, style reading. They also do these in grammar, comprehension and spelling and maths. So we're getting to the point here where we're introducing the various rules. We've had the reading, simple phonics, the first 12% of sight words. We may have taught some more sight words, and we've gone into blends, and now we're moving on to vowel digraphs, where we have A-E. It's a simple rule, the magic E rule. We explain to the child, every time you see this pattern, A followed by E at the end of the word, the A says its name. So the word becomes cake, and the E is silent. Table, tame, rate, flame. And that's the rule, and we see the reading explode when it hits this point. This other rule that we explain as well is something that helps the reading to explode. Again, we say to the child, every time you see this pattern, it says A, and the rule here is when two vowels go walking, the first does the talking and says, hello, my name is A. This vowel doesn't say anything. So, with that rule in mind, the children read the words pale, train, snail, pain, waste, rain. And again, we give them a set of phonogram cards and vowel digraphs in green this time with Montessori, and they are in the classroom with the title on the box where the children read the phonogram or the vowel digraph and say that, and then they can take the cards out and read them. They can match them to pictures and they can read the lists as we have with the pink series and the blue series. What we have here is a set of wooden letters, and we've just tipped them out randomly onto the table, and now we ask the children to arrange these letters in the order of the alphabet of the sounds. And this is where we can discover that children have some learning difficulties, such as dyslexia. So a child may take the first letter and say, well, I know that's the R, and they may just put it like that. We don't say anything, we leave it like that, and they would take the next letter and they may do that, and then the next letter, and then the next letter, and they may do that, and we leave that. And eventually they lay out the letters of the alphabet, and then we ask them to check, and they check using this. And the child corrects this, and the child has to discover the mistake. So they look at this, and quite possibly they will say, actually that's wrong, and they'll turn it round, and they will do that, and they will do that, and they will do that. And eventually, after a couple of weeks of this, you find that these errors tend to disappear, and the children are laying out all the letters of the alphabet correctly orientated. And that's the beauty of these wooden letters, is that they can be turned and they can be orientated in a different way. So we have that, and then what we do is we lay out the pictures this time of the alphabet. So we're laying those out. We ask the child to lay these out, and some children will lay them out and they might be in the wrong order, and some children will lay them out and they'll all be in the right order, and you'll ask the child, how did you lay those out? How did you work out which was the correct order of the alphabet? And some very clever children will say, because they're numbered at the bottom, 1, 2, 3 and so on. And that's what they will do. They'll look for the numbers. They'll use different strategies that we maybe wouldn't have thought of. So you don't have to do all this in one go. You can do part of the alphabet. You can still tip out the letters. And now we ask the children to match the letters to the pictures. Apple. And now we go through an exercise of naming the picture first. We use the visual cue first and name that. Apple, and then we say the sound. Apple, A, boat, B, cat, K, duck, D, elephant, E. And we increase the speed of this. The child increases the speed until they get to the point where the whole alphabet is laid out in front of them and the letters are correctly orientated, and they can go through the alphabet saying apple, A, boat, B, cat, K, duck, D, elephant, E, fish, F, gate, G, house, and so on. And they do that within a limited time. Once they do that, they never have to do it again. And what we have is completely automatic recognition of the letter sounds of the alphabet. The next stage is to do apple A, boat B, cat C, duck D, and then we have automatic recognition of the letter sounds and the letter names, and that boosts reading. We can do that with just about any child within 6 weeks, no matter how severe their learning difficulty is.